When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gane, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gane.
And we have our continuation of last week's podcast, talking about the power of a year, 2 years, and 5 years. So if you're just tuning in, you haven't listened to last week's podcast where we talk about the power of a year, we ended up going a whole episode on just a year. It's an important first year. So go back and have a listen to that.
Absolutely. But first, Jenny, what are you excited about?
Oh, this is funny, but I'm excited about our new tiki hut.
Yay!
Did you even know such a thing existed on a non-Caribbean island? I don't know. But we have one in our backyard now, and we used it over the holidays. And so it's just a super fun covered area. We get to stay outside. Lisa and I have mornings out there now, and it's just ended up being super fun. It's not something I ever imagined. This is never something I scripted about, but it's really fun, and it's bringing a lot of joy in my life. So I feel very excited about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What are you excited about, Cass?
I am excited about all the money being manifested in the Enchanted Circle right now. Yeah. It's so fun to just watch it. And, I set this intention maybe 10 weeks ago or something, just to see, let's see if as a group we can manifest $1 million in January, just because it sounds fun, right? Yeah. And because I've grown into the person who can say that.
And hold that space for that.
And hold that space for that, yeah. And so it's just fun to see money coming in and everybody celebrating together, and just, I love the group energy of that. It's so much fun to manifest money together.
Oh, that is just an amazing affirmation right there.
Right?
It's so true. It's so true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so let's...
I'm also excited about this topic.
Yes, of course you are, Cassie Parks. Why are you excited about this topic?
Oh my gosh, because I think this is the golden thing. When you understand, so we talked last week about how powerful that first year is, and what happens, and you become the person who owns their power when you do it for a year, when you're consistent and you're really putting into practice the law of attraction deliberately. You're owning your power by the end of year one. And so what happens in year two, and Jenny alluded to this, or we talked about it a little bit, is you ask for better things because you believe you can get them. Mm-hmm. Once you own that power, year two is all about opening up, and we're going to talk about what that's like. And then, of course, we're going to talk about what does it mean and what's the power of giving yourself 5 years of space. And so let's talk about 2 years, because if I get going on 5, I probably won't stop.
Yeah, I know.
So.
I love it. So I love that you just said year two is about opening. So that sums it perfectly. So there's still a lot of opening in one, but to summarize, so 1 is about harnessing your power. 2 is really about, it's kind of funny, and tell me if you agree, Cass, but it's kind of like the opposite of year 1 in the way that you're way more letting go of control. So you go from being the creator to really being the allower. You go from taking a lot of action and we didn't talk about that thing last week, about doing the how.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
we can talk about it. Yeah, it'll tie into this.
Okay. So you go from relying on your alignment action and the work and stuff to create and to, you're still a little bit like trying to manifest because you're still learning your power. But then in year 2, because you already know it, it's way more like relaxing and allowing and getting out of the way. And then because all that to me means opening. You are opening up to let the universe flow through you, to what is possible, to like getting out of the way. And so it's so interesting to me and I do think you can't just jump to being the allower. You have to like be the creator, be the manifestor first, then you come into being the allower and opening. And what do you want to say about that, Cass?
Absolutely. I love that. And I wanted to highlight what that means. If you're letting go more, you're going to get more inspired action. Yeah. You're going to really start to feel yourself being pulled or led down a path instead of like, because this is allowing, right, instead of defining it and choosing, like, and you're going to find a whole new level of, just that allowing and letting go of the control. I had a client the other week and she started a new script, but she goes, I was really controlling things in this. I'm going to back it off and I'm just going to go for this. Is that okay? I'm like, yes, perfect. And, because she had looked at it from before, she had written it a while and she was still in that control, right? Like, let me control. In fact, she was one that one time said, I used to think that scripting was telling the universe to deliver exactly what I wanted, when I wanted it, how I wanted it. Mm-hmm. and so that's kind of that. But when we get deliberate about that and we do that and we see some things show up, we're willing to move into this phase of allowing and letting go and following and allowing inspiration to come up. And we allow ourselves to follow it more.
It is a really clear example. It probably will show up in your scripting a lot, and you'll be able to look back and see. So from year 1, I was really trying to control the how there, versus now I just go right to what I really want, and I'm not talking about the how it happened. I see this all the time in like new scripts is like, and then this happened, and then this person called me, and then this then this unfolded, then I decided I want this. I'm like, well, this is all the how, and it's perfect for exactly where it is, but you will watch that transition as you know your power and then begin to let go more and more.
Yes. Ooh, and I just had I learned as a coach, even that this is a natural, this is what happens. And so I've let that happen more on its own. Like, I know the power now of, okay, you can write it so specific because we're going to get there.
Yes.
And next time we do a workshop, it'll be completely different. It'll be more allowing. And so and that probably happened in year 2 of sort of this framework of the Enchanted Circle. It was like, oh, I can let go of that because that's just sort of first year what happened. I don't know that I was consciously thinking about that, but as you just said that, I was like, oh yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is that this happens. You can have another year 2, right? As we grow, I think we have a year 1, a 2, and a 5, and I'd love to hear your opinion, but I think we go through that growth cycle again and again.
Totally. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Will you share that story of the how you howed it? You controlled the how? Yeah.
So when I was, learning my power, I manifested, but it was a how manifest. So I totally manifested this. I wanted to be, there was a syndicated radio show. It was on in like 12 major markets, including Denver. It was this show that came on, I don't know, like at 7 or 8 at night until 10. And she interviewed like just totally all kind of different people. And she was into the law of attraction and she was into just a lot of things. And I was like, I had written my first book, which is if you've ever been at an event and you've got the blue book, that was it. And I'm like, now I got to promote it, right? I got to get all these clients. I want clients. I was always, when I was not using the law of attraction totally, right? Just trying to get clients. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to manifest getting on her show. And I did all my work and alignment. And like, even though I didn't totally know, I scripted it out. I visualized it, right? And I got on her show. And it was not easy to get on her show because I knew someone else at the time. I said, oh yeah, I'm going to be on this show. And she's like, this guy's assistant was like, I've been trying to get him on that show for 3 months. How did you make it happen? And I was like, oh, I manifested it. Which was
that.
Totally
Look at my skills.
I manifested it, right? Yeah. Which was awesome, except for I sold 1 book and got 0 clients from that. And what I wanted was to sell books and get clients.
Yeah, that's what you really wanted.
It's what I really wanted. And instead of focusing on that and allowing inspiration, I manifested the how.
Yep. Do this. This comes up all the time when, this came up in a few weeks ago in Skills Camp. A couple of the ladies wanted to they wanted to learn language. One was Spanish, one was German. And I'm like, but they couldn't find the inspiration, well, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the work. I don't get, I'm not inspired to do it. And I'm like, well, why do you want to learn it? And one's like, oh, so I can get a new job here. And the other one was like, oh, so I can connect with this person. And I'm like, oh, so let's go to what you really want. And then as soon as they made that switch, there was little whispers of inspirations come in, and then guided towards the action that would lead them to what they really wanted. In one case, it was the language. In another case, it actually wasn't.
I love it. And I love this as, because I think this is important when we go to like wear guidance. So sort of that, owning your power, we can sometimes start to own our power, but use it to manifest things that we should actually be allowing or we should go for. Versus like part of what happens starts to happen in year 2. Like you own your power, but in year 2, you start to realize you don't always have to use your power. Like you can literally let things happen, which is what we're talking about. And so you can use your power, but you don't have to, which is a power in itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would rephrase that, but like that is your power, is not directing it so much, maybe. Yeah, because you're being you trusting. That's what year 2 is about. Like you really learn how to trust, and that is so powerful.
It's so powerful.
I think, and the other thing I want to mention about year 2 is like this idea that not everything is new, right? So you just have this level of comfort going through, like looking at different areas of your life, creating different things that you're wanting. And it's just more familiar. And that in itself just allows you to relax. Like Cass and I were talking and we compared it to, when you're a freshman in college and like everything's new and there's all these extra pressures and ideas and all these things to worry about. But then, you come back for your next year and you're like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm not a freshman anymore.
Right?
And it's that same kind of feeling.
Absolutely. And so that also builds on the trust, because you're not, hyper-focused is okay, but like sort of on the steps like in year 1, because you've kind of learned it. And so that relaxing and being like, oh yeah, I can do this, allows you to see more, just what's possible, or am I asking for what I really want? It just allows you to relax into that and ask in a different way, because you're not concerned about all the right directions.
Yep. Absolutely. And in year 2, you've spent a whole year gathering evidence, right? So what I find happens kind of near the end of year 2 or middle to end is say something comes up and it brings up a sense of doubt or a sense of fear or something, and you're like, I have way too much evidence that this can't be true. And so like it doesn't even get any airtime because you're just like, this, just brush it off your shoulder, because you've already gathered so much evidence that you have enough momentum going to like overpower any of those other, like the little things that come up in our life.
Yes.
Yeah. You really, you stop questioning. You really stop a lot of questioning. If it's right, and your questions turned much more empowered to like, okay, what's next, or how can this be good, or that kind of questioning versus like, what am I doing wrong, what do I need to do, that kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about year 5. Since I know you
All
have
right.
it's your favorite.
It is my favorite. And it's my favorite because if we start out at the beginning of year 1 and we're like, I'm going to give this 5 years, there is so much space. There is no push to become tomorrow that person. And we can set bigger intentions than we can imagine are possible because we're leaving so much space for them to come true that we can't even figure out how to get them, which is a good thing.
So freeing.
And I think freeing. And I think in year 1 and 2, we really, when you've done this for 2 years, you become somebody who does this. And you really leave, I think the version of yourself that you were when you started, you really leave them behind. You've created who you want to be. And the power in years 3 to 5 is that you are creating as that creator, as that person that you've started to become, that is harnessing their power, is able to let go, and has 2 years of, I know when I ask, I get what I want. I know it works out. So I can ask even bigger, and I can really, truly, I think in a deeper level, starting in year 3, and you grow into this in 5, but it keeps happening, like, you get to open up to so much more. You're almost new, I think, in year 3.
That's fun to think of it like that. I like the part you say it's a lot about getting to be that person and it being kind of more natural. When you were talking, I was thinking this is the phase where you really like let go of, you know how sometimes people feel this sense of imposter syndrome of like, I'm not really that person, I'm playing the role.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the time where that's not a part of you. That's in the past. And I'm going to relate it to the terms of like being an athlete. So say if you're just starting triathletes. So if I was to start doing triathlons in my first year, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm playing with it. I'm doing a few. And then my second year, I'd be like, okay, this is more comfortable. By my third year, I'm like, oh, I'm a triathlete. Yeah, I guess, because I've been doing them. Actually, it's kind of the same as like I'm a business owner, right? That was a lot of the transition. Or I'm a law of attraction coach, or I'm a successful business owner. Like all of these were identities you start to own. And I think that 3 to 5 years is really amazing and powerful for the identities that you are fully owning now and adopting, which is just another way to say being, right? When you're owning an identity.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're owning and being and creating from that person, so much can get created so fast. And it's just easier and it's more fun, and you're still learning and growing because you're getting to this place. 3 to 5 years, the growth is depth.
Yes.
Huge depth.
Huge, wonderful, warm, welcoming depth. Oh, I'm just teasing you guys. It's not that bad.
But because you have, built up the, I have my own power and I can let go. You both let go and you own your power, and you can go deeper and deeper and deeper, which means you can go deeper into your soul and ask for more of what you want and who you want to be.
Yeah.
I think you really start to ask for the life that is who you want to be in, the life that the person you want to be is living. Even though we've asked for the bits and pieces of that coming up to this point, like there is something about, fully owning this beingness. You can fully ask for what that beingness has.
I really love the thing, and I'm just kind of thinking about my clients' transformations and my own experience of that depth. And one of the biggest things when I'm first talking to people, and it's like, want to feel that confidence. And your confidence starts in that first year as you become and own your power. But in this 3 to 5 years, like it becomes so deep that I'm not saying it's never shaken, but it never leaves you. And that's that kind of depth. It's not just confidence in what you can do or who you are. It's like confidence in who you really are. And that, you know, sometimes we talk about that untouchable feeling. Well, I talk about this, how no one can really, really hurt you when you're connected to your truth. It's just this like physical party that gets hurt and our mind processes it and all things. And you're really you feel that there's like this underlying sense of knowing I'm good, everything's going to be all right, everything's working out for me. And that depth and that feeling, it really allows you to just move through life easier because you're not fearing, well, you're not trying to control anything, but you're not fearing what comes because you trust it. You learn that in year 2. And it's just, you get excited by what comes because you're going with the flow. You're like living in harmony, and it's a great place to be.
It is. And I will put that, or I would sum it up for me in this way. I would say it as like knowing you've got yourself. So there's no, like, because you know you've got you, like, none of that matters. Like, there's such freedom in that.
That's freedom. That is freedom. Yeah. The other thing that kind of happens too is in this 3 to 5 years time is because we get good at manifesting and we get most of the things outside of us that we're wanting. There's something that goes from like having all of our needs met so that it opens up space for us to then go more towards thriving, you know? So it's that old phrase of surviving to thriving. And yeah, when you just, you know, you can't pay your bills, you're in a certain state and there's only so far you can go in that. And so over this time, you get to that place where you get to transition out of that kind of survival and trying to meet your own needs, and you get to explore this other experience of really thriving and living life fully, and then giving back to others. And that's what I find all the time. Like the clients I'm working with are just like, okay, great, and they're just so inspired. They're like, what's next? How can I be, I love this. How can I be more me to uplift the world? And that's what starts to come out. When you're at this grounded place, you start to want to express this goodness that you feel about life and share it.
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of went on a little rampage
so
there.
Awesome.
Anything else, Cass, you want to add to this, or about 5 years?
Just that there is so much magic and you can't rush that magic. Like there is no way to take 5 years and make it happen in one, because it is a process. Yeah. It is an amount of living this stuff that you have to do and learning the trust. And it's an amount of times if we had to quantify it, but you can't take the 5 years and turn it into 1 or 2. Like you only get there when it's been 5 years. Or when it's been 3, you only get to live the 3 to 5 when you've done the 1 and 2. And so no matter where you are, like just start if you need to start, and let this be year 1 where you start to own your power and your consistency. And, you know, let next year be, letting go and trusting. And then you get to live year 3 to 5. But no, you cannot rush that, but you can surrender, and that will make the journey feel quicker and more fun.
So good. You cannot force your growth. So just relax into the journey. Have an amazing week. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
I love helping people manifest money, because when you're learning to use the law of attraction, money is such a great tool. It gives such instant feedback. There's so many opportunities to see how the energy is flowing through you and where you might be getting tripped up or not allowing it to come in. So if you've had trouble manifesting in the past, you might want to use money as a way to learn how to use the law of attraction. Now, I have helped thousands of people manifest millions of dollars using my system Manifest 10K. And now I would love to invite you to join me complimentary and pay based on your success. You heard me right. You can join, get access to my very successful program, the Enchanted Circle, and most of all, my coaching for when you get stuck. And then you can pay me 10% of what you manifest after you're successful. If this sounds good to you, go to payafteryoumanifest.com to apply. That's payafteryoumanifest.com.
Go be awesome! Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.